The Epoch Times podcast.
Epoch Times Online, I'm Rich Crankshaw. Here's what's making the headlines in today's Epoch Times newspaper and online at theepochtimes.com. Today's news date, December 10th. Russian authorities reacted aggressively on Wednesday to another suspected bomb when a stray package was found in a Russian train traveling through eastern Ukraine. Russian media first reported the package was detonated, then later reports said the bomb squad declared the package didn't contain a bomb. In an unrelated incident earlier that same day in southern Russia, a barrel was found next to the highway containing ammonium nitrate and 3 anti-tank grenades, according to Russian media. Russian security officials said the power of the explosive was twice the strength of the bomb used in the deadly train bombing. A Chechen Islamist group claimed responsibility for the train bombings of November 27th. Sound of Hope radio network recently uncovered many hospital officials and prominent doctors in parts of China have been taking leaves of absence to avoid being infected with the H1N1 virus. Medical students have been drafted to handle the influx of more patients as the H1N1 outbreak intensifies. H1N1 infections continue to spread in China's schools, and there have been more H1N1 cluster outbreaks. Entire floors of some of China's municipal hospitals are now isolation wards, according to reports inside China. A bill has been tabled in the Ukrainian parliament, if passed, would officially prohibit the communist ideology in the former Soviet bloc state. The authors hope the ideology will be condemned as against humanity in the same way Nazism was banned worldwide. The bill aims to prevent a repetition of the crimes of communism. This is not the first attempt to prohibit the propaganda of communist ideology in Ukraine. In August of '91, Ukraine's parliament banned the Communist Party of Ukraine. The current bill seeks to prohibit the ideology, and the CPU is the main carrier of that. After a recount, independent candidate Mary Norwood conceded to Democrat Kasim Reed on Wednesday night in Atlanta's mayoral race. Norwood would have been Atlanta's first white mayor since Sam Massell lost to Maynard Jackson in 1974 and would have been the second female mayor. United States Treasury Secretary sent a letter to White House Speaker and Senate Majority Leader saying he does not expect to deploy more than $500 billion by the next deadline, and the $700 billion in TARP relief should be extended to next October. His reasoning for the extension was to provide a stable foundation for the damaging housing market as part of the plan for TARP's exit strategy. According to the Treasury Secretary, if the U.S. were to discontinue TARP by the end of this year, history suggests the recession could last longer than necessary. The Congressional Oversight Panel overseeing TARP released a report on Wednesday giving an outline on what TARP has done since its inception in late 2008. Jobs continue to decline, said the report. The market is still dependent on support from the government, which doesn't lean towards healthy economic growth. The Epoch Times reported GM expects to fully pay its loan by 2011. The nation's second-largest bank, Citigroup, has plans to raise equity in order to pay back its taxpayers' funds. And on Wednesday, Bank of America announced it has paid back in full its $45 billion in TARP obligations. You can read all about it in today's Epoch Times. The interrogation of an award-winning U.S. journalist at the Canadian-U.S. border has prompted the Canadian Association of Journalists to ask for reassurance from the federal public safety similar incidents will not occur in the future. Amy Goodman was detained for about 90 minutes and interrogated along with 2 colleagues as they crossed the Washington-British Columbia border on November 25th. Goodman says she was detained because Canadian Border Services Agency officials were concerned she was going to criticize the 2010 Olympics while in Canada. Goodman's notebook and computer were scrutinized, as were those of her 2 colleagues. The car they were traveling in was also searched. Goodman is the host of Democracy Now!, a radio and television show aired by 800 public and college broadcasters across North America. Stepping onto a cardio machine and choosing the fat burn program likely decreases the amount of fat one burns. While the fat burn program encourages exercises to burn higher percentages of fat, the problem is it encourages slower speeds, fewer calories burned, and less fat burning overall. Here's why one may want to avoid programs labeled as fat burning zone found on today's treadmills, elliptical trainers, bikes, and other cardio machines. For fuel, the body can burn fat, carbohydrate, or proteins. At rest, it is generally assumed the average body burns about 70% fat and 30% carbohydrate. Fats are stored and utilized from almost anywhere in the body, while carbohydrates are readily floating in the bloodstream, available in the muscles, or stored in the liver. Obtained by breaking down muscles and tissue, protein is not generally used as a fuel source unless one begins to starve or diet. Read more in today's Epoch Times titled, Fallacy of the Fat Burning Zone. Today in history, Today, December 10th, 1948, the UN General Assembly adopts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Today in 1987, the news show Nightline is seen in the USSR for the first time. The worst snow in Buffalo, New York history was recorded today, December 10th, 1995. 37.9 inches of snow fell in a period of 24 hours. And finally, journalist Michael Vermeulen, one of the first journalists to report the story of AIDS in the U.S., was born today, December 10th, 1956. In today's Epoch Times sports page, teams from all over the globe came to take part in a tournament of jumbo proportions. The World Elephant Polo Championships took place in Nepal, and thanks to Newtong Dynasty TV, we have the play-by-play. Two British adventurers started the sport about 30 years ago. The rules of the game are similar to horse polo, but drivers control the elephants to let the players concentrate on their extra long polo sticks. No more than 3 elephants are allowed at a time in one half of the pitch. This is to avoid the animals' herd instincts of huddling themselves into a crowd. After a week of competition, the host nation, Nepal, claimed the first prize against Thailand. Reigning champions of Europe, FC Barcelona produced a textbook performance in the art of patient recoveries when they came back to win 2-1 in Kiev. Barcelona conceded an unlucky goal after only 2 minutes of play. From then on, Barcelona strung plays of 10 to 15 consecutive passes together, leaving Kiev dazed. Those are some of the stories making the headlines in today's Epoch Times newspaper. To find out more about these stories and other important facts, pick up a copy of the Epoch Times newspaper or go to the web at theepochtimes.com. Until next time, for Epoch Times Online, I'm Rich Crankshaw.
Epoch Times.